What it is, what is up, what is good, gamers? This is Show Enough 71, aka Diggadulamite.
That freaky tails, yo.
Oh no.
And your auditory canals are tuned into episode 277 of the Gaming Vessels podcast. Now, as usual, I am not in the digital studio alone. Along with me, got my partners in crime. First on deck, it's Dez, a.k.a. the Bay Area Terror, a.k.a. the high-risk hater.
That's me?
A.k.a. the Cat Daddy, a.k.a. that gamer stepdaddy. What's going on, man?
I'm doing well. Had a quick jaunt to Fresno to visit family, so that was good. Got to see the family and get that little kind of heartwarming togetherness. So that's good. But I'm home now. It's just a quick trip. And just ready to talk about games and hopefully play some more games. I got some games on the horizon, and we'll talk about that in our playlist. So as usual, happy to be here. Happy to talk to you two knuckleheads. And yeah.
All right, and of course our show's a no-go without Trader Joe, a.k.a. Jabroni Chief.
Yeah.
But you might also know him as the Food Max of gaming, who can maximize your gaming dollar. How you doing?
A-okay, man. A-okay. Just living the life. That's it. So, I just was regaling the gentleman before we started recording about Too Short and Freaky Tales, a new movie coming out, So don't want to sound like, old man over here going freaky tail, but it is what it is. So it.
Sounds interesting to me.
That is pretty wild though.
Yeah.
So is this a kung fu movie?
I have no idea. It's an ensemble and a bunch of different characters in that movie. So like an NBA star and a kung fu guy, and it's like, yeah, I'd have to see the trailer to really make sense of it. So
we're gonna have to see the trailer for Freaky Tales, y'all. Produced by Too Short, starring Tom Hanks and some other people. So
Pedro Pascal,
and a bunch of other crazy ass people. So that's silly. So wow,
that is kind of insane.
But my week's been good. Week's been good. Just doing the usual stuff. So
okay. So we're gonna kick things. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead. We'll kick things off. Yes.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and kick things off with what is always our first topic on the docket, and that's going to be the playlist. So I think this week it is Jabroni Chief's turn. What you been playing, man?
The usuals. Unfortunately, it's been a broken record a little bit. I think me and Dez are going to concur to still push on, but yeah, it's been Borderlands 3 as usual on here. We're making our way through Eden 6, and we're still in Eden 6. So it just seems like, if it ain't one thing, it's another thing with Eden 6. So it's just like it was the planet just keeps us satisfied with ongoing content. So, I don't know if you would say, Des, if this is like the part of the game that's kind of dragging just a shade. So.
Yeah, I would say that it is, but I think it's just because they got to fill it with something, and they wanted to say, hey, everybody, this is more of the universe that we are a part of. That Borderlands is a part of. So
yeah.
Hey, let's experience it. So I mean, part of me is kind of like cool with it, but at the same time, I'm just kind of like, okay, folks, what are we doing with this?
Yeah, if you didn't know about Borderlands, basically the universe, a lot of the gun manufacturers in the game have like prominent placement in the plot line for each planet that you visit. So,
which is great.
Yeah, like you get to learn about the Malawan Corporation and Atlas, and Eden 6 is all about the Jacobs family. So it's like each set of gun manufacturers has its own little stories. Even Malawan is crazy man.
Yeah, one of the antagonists. So
yeah.
So yeah.
Still enjoying that. Yeah, for sure. Still doing a lot of arms race, of course. So just because it's just that kind of bite size Borderlands taste I could do if Dez happens not to be online or doing something else. I could still go in and do a 20-minute run to go grab some additional guns. I think I'm up to level 55 now, so it's like last time I think me and Dez played, I was like 50 or 51. So it's like yeah.
Yeah, you're doing the most, sir.
Yeah, for sure. So also playing Monster Hunter Wilds, of course. So I'm kind of in it to win it with that game. I have picked up the Lance as my secondary weapon, and in fact, I'm almost like 50-50 between Greatsword and Lance, depending on what's going on in the fight. So I love the fact that with the Lance, I could just basically throw it out there and jab, 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 and be able to block. I had an instance where I threw up my shield, and I actually had to mash the X button on there because it was like in a kind of a quick time event with the monster as far as us bashing against each other, me with the shield and the monster with its head. So I didn't even know that existed as far as a QTE in the game. So yeah. I love the fact that the game's opened up a bit, and I'm just not really having to do a story mission each and every damn time. I'm actually free to explore and gain hunter rank and do what I'm going to do. And so there's a lot of side missions too, some missions with everyone in the game between Alma the handler and your Palico and also the armory chick, which I happened to forgot her name off the top of my head. Just Gemma. That's with her trucker hat.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, just seeing these different side missions, I think they're kind of entertaining. Just add a little bit more backstory to everything. And so I'm actually, I almost feel like High Rank's like the game within the game. Like, it's like, I think this is the game, so.
Yeah.
So I'm thoroughly enjoying what I've played, playing a little multiplayer with John BT. I know John BT, I helped him beat the low rank monster. I forgot the last monster before you go into high rank on there, but far be it for me to remember all these monsters' names if need be. So me being a big Monster Hunter fan, if that so.
Yeah, but, it happens.
Yeah. So, but that's pretty much been it for me. I mean, I think Des is going to go into his future purchases and what he wants to play coming up. A lot of the same games on his list are on my list too. So.
Yeah. Basically for me, and I'll kind of echo what Joe is saying. Monster Hunter has been fun. I am, still haven't beaten it yet, and still trying to kind of get in there. I'm taking a much more quote unquote measured approach with it because I do want to play Borderlands 3 because I want to get done with it. I have put hours into it, and I want to get done with it. I want to play it. It's a mission, to get it done. And on top of that, I can understand where people were saying that it's kind of crappy, but at the same time, I don't think it's that bad. The writing and whatnot. Yes, sometimes you do get into like a cringy spot, and you're like, what the hell is this? But overall, like the stuff with the Jacobs and everything, and the main story of Eden 6, I think it's fine. Some of the side missions definitely feel like filler, and I can understand why people were not totally down with that stuff. So I can understand that. Totally understand it.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm having fun with it, and I'm looking forward to get to the end. That way I'm set up for Borderlands 4, which will be a day one purchase for me, regardless of what people say. Like, regardless of people say, I'm going to be buying it day one because I do like the franchise, and I want to see what's going on. Actually, the day of the God's honest truth, if we finish 3 in enough time, and I'm not too burnt out of a Borderlands, I'll go back and I will actually play Borderlands 2 and beat that one. And then
I thought maybe you'd dive into the DLC on Borderlands 3 before.
Yeah, no, we can still do that. The DLC is still fine. We can still play that, but as far as the actual Borderlands story, I would kind of want to play that second one and beat it, and then possibly do the pre-sequel, even though I know people say it's not that good, but I still want to play it. And then the Telltale games, at least the first one, because I hear the second one is kind of trash. So Um, but again, I really like the lore of Borderlands. I think it's fun, so I'm just gonna jump all in. That's pretty much what that comes down to. So, to what Joe was alluding to earlier about the new games list, these are some of the games that are on my list to play within the next couple of months, because I was noticing in the last couple episodes we were talking about have been really kind of static in what we've been playing. So just want to let you know what's coming on in the horizon. Is for me Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. I have that on order. I should be getting it soon. Same thing with Atelier Umia.
Yumiya.
Yeah, Umia, the Alchemist of Memories and the Envisioned Land. So I got that one as well. And I wanted to play that because I have not played an Atelier game in a very long time. I missed the last three games. I didn't miss them. Like I just didn't play them. And Umia seems to have is a real big change to the status quo of the Atelier games, it being an open world, and you basically do your alchemy on the go. So we'll see what's happening with that. And then lastly is Atomfall by Rebellion. I love that studio, and I want to support this new venture, this new IP. So stay tuned for future episodes. I will be talking about these three games, and I'm sure Joe will be as well, because I know that Joe got at least two of the games that I got. So
No, I have all three basically. Atomfall comes out on Tuesday.
Yep.
I have Xenoblade Chronicles X in my possession, so
Yeah, I haven't gotten it yet. It's on order.
yeah, and then Atelier comes mañana. So
yeah. It's going to be awesome. So I will be starting these games as well. Again, I can't tell you if I'm going to be like giving you complete full playthroughs about them anytime soon, but I will be talking about them soon. So, but yeah, that's what's going on with me. Kev, what have you been playing, sir?
So the only real thing I've been playing is Monster Hunter. When I have time, I haven't been playing it a whole lot. I've been working on my side projects, so that just does not leave a whole lot of time for gaming. Probably the only thing that new that I can bring to the table for the sake of the playlist is, and it's not even a game. It is an anime that I have been watching on Netflix. It is called, and it's really one that I haven't. Typically, this type of series does not. It's not going to find a spot in my wheelhouse for the most part. I'm not really into sports animes too much. I think I tried watching. Oh gosh, what was that boxing one with?
Ippo?
Ippo. I tried watching Ippo. I think I got through like the first maybe 6 or 7 episodes, but I kind of tapped out after that. But I've been watching this one called Blue Box, and really the characters are so well written that I kind of just found myself getting kind of pulled into a story. It's a sports anime, but at the heart of it is like a kind of like a rom-com. It takes place between several characters, each in a different sport, but have different connecting interrelational connections that kind of bring them all together in the story. Like the main character plays badminton, and he wants to be able to go to represent Japan in the Olympics one year. And his crush is Chinatsu Senpai, who is a women's basketball player who's like super focused in also trying to get to represent Japan in the Olympics. And she's trying to get to the nationals just for her division. And his childhood friend, whose name escapes me, and a surprisingly very well developed cast of supporting characters. Like you usually don't see stuff like this in like traditional series. Like they'll just focus on the main group and everybody else is just kind of in the is kind of in the zone, so you know that there's like it's not just a school filled with just those people. But the writing in this series does such a good job of building up non-main characters in relation to what's going on with the main crew in such a way, and kind of melds it all together in such a way that it's just really captivating. So for anybody who is a Netflix subscriber, who even if rom-com animes are typically not your bag, I would highly recommend you give Blue Box a shot. There are 2 seasons. I've completed season 1 and season 2. I'm not sure if season 2 has just ended. I watched the most recent episode yesterday. We're recording on a Sunday, so I watched it Saturday, and I don't know if that's completed this second season or if there are some subsequent episodes to come. But very good. Also on Netflix, I caught up with season 2 of Castlevania Nocturne, which
the Blackvania.
Yeah, Negrovania.
Yeah, there you go, Negrovania. There you go.
So I'm late to the party on this one, but I had heard nothing but negative stuff about this, like this particular this particular chapter in the series. I have not played the game that Nocturne is based on, so I am not the one to talk about canon with regards to this series. But I have to say that I honestly think it's almost as good as the original series. It might even be better in some parts because there are some fight scenes that take place in season 2 of Nocturne that are like Demon Slayer level. And in my mind, that's saying a whole lot. I can't remember the name of the studio that does Castlevania, but they are known for their action. They're known for their art style, and I think they put together one hell of a show. I guess it is very kind of modern day. Like, they made Alucard buy for whatever reason, and you've got you discover that in season 1 of Nocturne, I think. Well, technically, you find that out in season in the original series, because he was like low key making passes at what's his face, the first Belmont in it, which was just like, okay, whatever. But even with some of the modern dayness of of what they kind of put into this, it is overshadowed by the story and the depth of these characters. Like Alucard, you really kind of feel for the guy in what he's been through since pretty much since the first season of Castlevania. And they made him such an in-depth and a deep and likable character. Richter, who is the Belmont of Nocturne season 1 and 2, very likable, kind of like a roguish, kind of like what would you call you? If there was a Han Solo type character in Castlevania, would probably be him. Very likable. Annette, who is I think is the cause for all of the consternation. I didn't play the games that Nocturne is based off, so I don't know. Also extremely likable. Her struggle, you really kind of feel for what she's been through. For those that don't know, this series takes place during the French Revolution. Chattel slavery is in full force and effect. France is involved, and Annette is kind of like a victim of the slave trade. You find that out during you're exposed to that during season 1, and in season 2 she comes into her own. Basically, she's kind of on like Belmont level in her ability to fight darkness. So the big bad is this kind of like this deposed noble who gains access to this vampire god's blood, and the whole series kind of revolves around how they're going to be able to deal with. Basically, if Vegeta was a vampire, that's basically who the big bad is in this one, and it makes for some really intense and a really cool fight scenes, really well choreographed fight scenes. So can't recommend Nocturne season 2 enough. I think it's probably, if not as good, maybe a little bit better than season 1 of Castlevania. So if you got a Netflix account, definitely want to check it out. I have no retro recon because I ain't played nada. So with that said, we are going to push on to what is going to be our next topic on our docket, and we've got a main event coming at you. All right, Dez, you got the mic, bro.
All righty. So, everybody, as you know, we sometimes ask folks, please let us know what you'd like us to talk about, or ask us a question and we will answer it. And we got one from longtime listener, eternal friend, John BT, who says, Kevin likes to say, quote unquote, ain't no one got time for that. But what if you did have time, Kev? If you could get all the teenage time and vitality reflexes back, what big game or games are you diving into? They can be current or past games, but nothing you're actively playing now. We all know you put 1,000 hours into Monster Hunter. So, Kev, all right, he put you on blast, my friend. What would it be if you had it? What would it be?
So it probably wouldn't be any game in particular. It'd probably be a genre, and that would be fighting games.
Oh, okay.
Like I would be actively competing in fighting game tournaments for sure, trying to get sponsorships or trying to be part of a sponsor team, however all that stuff works. Because when I had the time, I didn't have the money, didn't have the means to travel from here, there, and yonder to go to local tournaments. I didn't even really know where a lot of them were. I think the only tournament I've ever partook in was a Street Fighter Championship Edition tournament that took place at who was that arcade that it was like
Neon?
No, not Neon. It was the other one that closed down before Neon did.
Festival?
No.
Are you talking about Playland?
No, it might. Well, you know what? It might have been Festival. It was the one near Leslie's Pool Mart.
Oh, that's Festival.
That's Festival. Yeah, it was.
Are you talking about the one right by Yoshino's? You mean that one?
The one. Yeah, it's on. The one on Blackstone.
Where that best used to be.
Yeah, kind of that one. So I did that. I can't remember. I think I placed 3rd or 4th, and I can't remember how many people were competing. So I did okay. I would be all up in the fighting game, arena. I don't know. Of the modern fighting games, I really can't think of one that I would be really in it to win it. A part of me wants to say Tekken 8 because it looks so good, but at the end of the day, I never could grasp Tekken. I've always admired it. I still do, but it's I kind of look at it as one of those things that, yeah, it's like you say, it'd be like a mountain. It's like a mountain climber who says he's going to climb Mount Everest, but hasn't even bothered, walking up his local mole hill. It's kind of like one. It's not. I feel like it's like one of those things. But thinking back to when I was actively in the arcade, I'm thinking like Samurai Showdown 2. I'm thinking Street Fighter Third Strike. I'm thinking like Real Bout Special, the Real Bout games, even for like Fatal Fury Special. I played the crap out of those games. Like in like Real Bout, I had the lane change combos for Billy Kane all pretty much memorized. And like Billy Kane was like hella cheap in that. If you use the lane changes, if you use his lane changes, like a couple, there was one in particular that's damn near unblockable if you timed it right and spaced it appropriately. And I think in tournament play in Japan, if you watch Japanese tournaments for the Fatal Fury games that have the lane changes, they outlaw that in the tournaments because it's so cheap. So for me, it would be those games that I would be actively like playing if I could turn back time with, my income, but with time and the means to travel and get to places where I could to actively compete, kind of taking where I am now and moving it back about 30 years. I would be playing those games. Street Fighter Alpha 2 and 3, loved those games. I remember going to, I think it was like I think it was the only time I went to, oh gosh, what's the name of that arcade in Southern Cal where all the arcade manufacturers used to test their arcade game?
Golfland?
Golfland, yeah, Golfland. I think it was the one time I went to Golfland. I was fighting. It was Street Fighter 3 was there, and I had never seen Street Fighter 3 before in the arcade. That was my first time seeing it, and there was this dude using Gin that was just like beating the crap out of everybody. Like he knew how to work the stances in his combos, and it's like he was just clowning everybody. So for the most part, everybody would just left, and I was the one kind of dumb enough because my dude was I wound up picking Nash, and I was just kind of like trying to adapt to what he was doing. The only thing that I couldn't really adapt to well was that he had pretty much mastered the V-ism. And I didn't understand how V-ism worked because that was like my first time playing the game. But I was proud of myself because even though I think I've spent like 30 minutes fighting this dude, I was beginning to adapt to his play style. The only thing that I couldn't counter was the way that he implemented the V-ism super. And since V-ism was like super confusing to me at the time, since it was the first time I saw it, it's like, yeah, I'll probably stay away from it. So I was using the A-ism, and I can't remember what the I think it was the X-ism. I can't remember the difference. I think the A was like the traditional super, I think. I can't remember what the middle one.
Talking about Alpha 3?
Yeah, Alpha 3, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Street Fighter 3 for a second. So
no, Alpha 3. But yeah, and like even locally when Nickel was new, I didn't even know this dude's name, but when they got it wasn't Third Strike, it was either Giant Attack or what was that other one? That other street. There was another. There might have been another Street Fighter 3 variant that they had before
You
Third
talk about
Strike dropped.
second impact, right?
Second
That's
Impact, yeah, yeah,
because that's the one I played a whole ton. I played a ton of Second Impact in the
yeah,
arcade. So
yeah. So it was Second Impact, and there was this dude that would be in there, and he would always choose Yoon, and of course I'm using Dudley, and we would go like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I never knew his name. But we were arcade homies. That's what I'll call it.
Yeah.
But and it was always that dude. He would pick Yoon, and I would pick Dudley, and we would go back and forth, and we were really kind of building our skills off each other because we were kind of already kind of evenly matched. And as he would improve, I would try and pick up on that. And like there would be some days like it would be a blowout. He would just be washing me, and then I'd come back next time and it would be more even. And then another day I wind up like washing him, and it was just really just that back and forth that we had was like really really cool. So for me, it would be fighting games, but for the modern ones, man, I really can't think of a modern fighting game. Maybe Dragon Ball Fighters that just really hooked me. I wasn't into Street Fighter Five. Street Fighter Six is okay. Guilty Gear. I'm not really into Guilty Gear, so it would be hard. I'd be hard pressed to find a modern fighting game that really strikes my fancy. But that would be my answer to the main event question.
Alrighty. So we do have some listener responses, so we're going to go through one of them right now. So John BT says, I'll throw in an answer to my own question. If I had the time, I think there are two things I'd take on. One, I feel like it would be fun to really dive into something like Elden Ring and get super good. The game seems to have huge depth and also skill to do everything. Number two, I'd invest time and energy into a fighting game, just like you, Kev. I miss the time I was able to put into these in the past. So it's not so much like if you had the time and everything, it does seem like, fighting games or these sort of like long form, super hyper reflexive type of games. I mean, I think for me, it would have to be something like shmups or shooters, or because I find myself not being as precise with a lot of my movements with playing shmups. So again, I don't think it's like an actual game, but more of a genre that I just feel that I did so much better at when I was younger, when I had much more I would even say it muscle control, stuff like that. But that's one of those things that I think is just really at the heart of this question. Another thing I would want to do is if I had the time and the stamina, I would play more RPGs. I mean, I hate to say this. I go to bed roughly pretty early these days, and I don't have enough time in my day to do all this stuff because this adulting. It's just adulting sucks, and I know that everyone who's an adult who listens to us knows that to be true. So yeah, for me, I'd have to definitely say that it would have to be like shmups. I'd want to really put my throw my hat in the ring, and just the ability just to kind of like stay my constitution, like to be able to stay doing this stuff. That's one of the things. So we got another response from Captain Mike M, who says, want to replay The Witcher 3 again, as well as Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2, back to back. Probably 2 and then 1, if you want to play them in the correct order. Blue Sky. This is from Blue Sky. So yeah, it's awesome that we're getting stuff from Blue Sky. We are on Blue Sky. If you don't know, we're also on YouTube, so like, share, and subscribe. Let folks know that we're here. Have them join our Discord. If you want to know how that information, please listen till the end, and Kev will let you know. But Joe, what's your answer to John's question?
There is a ton of things I would like to do. So a
I
lot of
think
it, yeah, a lot of it's just stuff I want to get to in my backlog. But I think the gist of John's question is if I had the vitality and reflexes involved. So one thing for me, just like Kev, is that I would love to play fighting games more. I still casually play Virtua Fighter 5. I have Revo for Steam on there, and out of all the games I've played, I think Virtua Fighter has been the one constant since the Saturn original on there, because I started playing it. It was something to where it came with the system, and so I basically got into it at that point, and I was a fervent fan of Sega's 3D action RPG, action fighters on there. So and I love the 3D style. I always felt Tekken was like, holding fucking Virtua Fighter's water, excuse my French, So, I always thought Tekken was a Virtua Fighter clone. I loved that Harada was happy to see Sega kind of get back to it, because, that was Tekken's main competition, if need be. So I would probably play a Virtua Fighter, probably more than I do now, so. I main Lion, and a lot of it was because of the fact that our friend Terry, if you remember Terry Des, he used to come over a lot, and we used to just go at it, man, go at it for hours. Sometimes I'd go out there and get violent against like trash cans, and like things would get heated on there. So I'm not one. I sometimes my Italian rage bubbles up to the surface, so it's like. It is what it is on there. So, but I kind of miss all those back in the day, like, battles at Neon, battles at Playland, playing crap like World Heroes Jet, for God's sake, so Savage Rain. I think Kev could probably attest to all those wonderful fighting games from back in the 90s, just going back and forth on that. So,
yeah, very much so.
Yeah, that's just the way it is as far as fighting games are concerned. So, and also too, John mentioned something like, like a From game, I remember playing like the original Kingsfield, like back in the day on PS1. And so I just, for whatever reason, I have all these Souls games in my backlog, and I'm just looking to play or pick one to kind of get into the genre, and I haven't done so yet, so whether it's Neo, whether it's Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, I want to pick one in the series of games and actually tool around with it a little bit, so I also want to get back to my RPGs, like Des said. It's like I want to, when I retire, when I get done, giving my lifeblood to President Elon Musk and President Donald J. Trump, I'll be able to play like both. I want to play like more Dragon Quest games. I haven't played all the Dragon Quest games in the series. I want to play Trails, like in the entire run of Trails games, Tales games too, and Xenoblade Chronicles. So there's a ton of RPGs I want to get into and play. So I definitely have a lot of gaming to look forward to when I retire. So I think who knows? I'll be my playlist is going to look like a damn book report. Once I retire. If we're still recording the show. So, and then one last thing, it's like kind of crazy, but I don't know if I've ever talked about this too much. Back in the day, I'm talking about like in the 90s, I got into personal computing gaming, meaning I was playing on Commodore Amiga back in the day. And one of my like kind of loves, and I don't know I really talk about it too much on this show, is I'm a big fervent baseball fan. So. And at one point, because, it was during a period where I had a lot of downtime, I was furloughed at my current employer. I was like furloughed for 6 months. So I was just like kicking it at home, making, earning unemployment, living at home. And I managed to like take a baseball game. It was Electronic Arts Earl Weaver Baseball, and like sim like almost an entire season of baseball. And was doing everything, handwriting the box scores, handwriting the stats, make my own players based on current stats. So I probably, if I had the time, I would probably dig into like either MLB The Show, pick up a current version of MLB The Show and kind of break that down and get into that really deeply. That's one series I haven't really played. Or Out of the Park Baseball, which is on PC, which is more of a sim type baseball experience. I just know I don't have the time I would want to dedicate to, because everything else I'm playing right now would fall by the wayside if that's the case. So, it's not about turning back time. It's more like trying to make time too. So that's the thing with me. So for sure. So that's my long convoluted answer. So.
Yeah, there's no convoluted answers or anything. This is great.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you were able to feel like, if I had my body again, I'd do it. Yeah. So, but yeah. So we have one last talk back, and that comes from the devious Mr. Matt, who says probably play the Mass Effect games over again, back to back to back. Incredible series, and this again is from our Blue Sky account. Yeah, to be able to have the longevity to sit down and do that, crazy, and just to have that wherewithal to and the body to be able to sit up and play that is kind of crazy. So
I'm kind of curious with his answer if he mentioned back to back to back to back, because you can't forget Andromeda there.
No, he's probably one of those people that does not like Andromeda. So. Which I do. I thought Andromeda was the best out of all of them. Don't at me. So and just so if you don't know already, you can definitely check out Captain Mike M and Mr. Matts. They have a podcast. You want to talk a little bit more about that, Joe?
Oh, I haven't really. I mean, I used to be a fan of Captain Mike M's and Devious Mr. Matt's prior podcasts. So I listened to a lot of 40 casts and especially Bad Fodder Figures on here. So, but they have been doing a little podcast. Kev, have you been listening to their new podcast at all?
Unfortunately, no. I've been in the courtroom at work because usually I get to listen to all my shows at work. But I've been working in the courtroom, so you can't be plugged into your phone while you're in court.
That sucks.
So.
Okay.
I haven't been listening to anything really.
They're like, sorry, sir, you have to pay attention. And they're like, no.
Well, I just wanted to make sure to plug them because I've enjoyed their content in the past, and who knows, maybe I'll grab it in my RSS feed and give it a gander on there. So.
Yeah, and you guys, you can definitely shoot us a question, let us know what's going on in your area in your podcast area, and maybe we can do a collab or something like that. So yeah, let us know. And as always, we do have another question coming up for you folks out there, and this question for our next episode that we're going to talk about. And as always, you can tune in and answer this question too on our Discord. Stay tuned till the end. Again, as Kevin's going to let you know how to do that. And the next question for next episode is, what game have you spent the most time playing? If you want, you can give us your top 3 games. And this came because we were all playing, I think, Monster Hunter together, and we all started comparing, hours for how long we've played certain games, and some of them are lots more staggering than others. And I thought it'd be kind of fun for us to kind of, not gloat, but just kind of like show, our, I guess I wouldn't say devotion so much, but just more so like who we're giving our time to. So that's, and we would love for you to like go on your PlayStation or wherever else and look at your game log and see how many hours you spent on your game, and let us know your top 1 or top 2 or top 3, and just let us know what made you spend so much time playing that game. Because some of these are a lot. So that's just a hint. So. But yeah, so again, thank you to everyone who came through and answered John's question. Thank you again, John, for giving the question. But what follows me is the Jabroni Game and News.
All right, thank you, Des. As always, we bring that Jabroni Gaming News each and every episode. So, so first news topic on the docket today is going to be about the launch of Assassin's Creed Shadows. So Assassin's Creed Shadows launched this past week, and Ubisoft was getting lawyers ready and social media surveillance in place with the launch of the game. So according to French publication BFM TV, Ubisoft has put in place a system designed to protect its employees. One staff member reportedly telling the publication, "We are advised not to post on social media that we work at Ubisoft to avoid harassment." Ain't that sad? The report says that Ubisoft has also presented an anti-online harassment plan to its CSE, that's Works Council, to make sure that employees are protected when the game is released. According to the CSE Works Council, this was an initiative from Canada. There is a team that monitors networks and acts quickly in the event of a targeted attack. Unlike what we had before, this is serious. This is serious business. So this dedicated unit is closely monitoring messages posted by users such as social media sites as X, Reddit, and YouTube, ready to react if anyone attempts to harass Ubisoft employees. Targeted employees will be offered psychological and legal support, while Ubisoft reportedly has lawyers ready to lodge complaints if a proven case of harassment is found on here. So they made a comment that the development team is still working on patches to prepare the final experience for launch, and any footage shared online does not represent the final quality of the game. Leaks are unfortunate and could diminish the excitement for players. They're asking people not to spoil experience for others. So, I bought the game. I mean, pretty much Assassin's Creed Shadows is gotten a really good reviews, so I haven't really been on the download to be able to see if there's any still harassment online about this game. If the curmudgeons of the interwebs are probably in there talking about DEI and like everything about everything. And Kev, have you been paying attention? Has there been any hubbub on the interwebs about this game after launch, or is everyone eating crow basically?
Well, it's a little bit of both from what I've heard. They're eating crow because the game is selling well. I think that it had, I can't remember what its Steam active users were, but they were pretty high. I think Ubisoft said that this is their second best-selling Assassin's Creed game for how long it's been released. I think it was was it Valhalla? That's still number one. This one is coming up number two, or it might have surpassed Valhalla, or whatever their number one Assassin's Creed game. I mean, at the end of the day, this game is not going to save Ubisoft from its fate. It's too big. It's been too poorly managed. So that's going to happen either way. But the game seems to be solid. I have my copy. I have not played it yet, but I definitely plan to. But it's. I was listening to Fighting Cowboy. He does like a lot of kind of action game breakdowns. Like he's got a Monster Hunter Wilds list, and he's also been doing a lot. I think he does most of his stuff is the From games, so like Sekiro and Elden Ring, that type of stuff. And he was doing a stream of the game, and there were several people who, if I'm understanding his follow-up video correctly, just kind of recollecting it, it came up in my YouTube feed where several people were making kind of like bigoted comments. Like some guy said, was asking if like Yasuke was going to pull out a Glock or something weird, which it's like, okay. But he said that there was a lot of comments that were filtered out because he has filters on his live streams that were just nothing but just straight up racist comments. And he basically said, you guys, I respect what he said. He's like, I'm the furthest thing from woke. He's like, I'm in the gym, I'm white, I'm straight, I have guns, and I think this game is pretty good. I don't care that there's a black samurai. I don't care there's a woman ninja. The game's got solid mechanics. Combat is fun from what I played. And I'm just going to base the game off of, how my experience of it. And I guess kind of appreciate him for being one of the larger street gaming streamers out there. He was saying that he gets most of his game codes for free. Companies send them to him. And, if that's what makes me a shield, then so what? But he says when I get a game and I don't like it, I tell people how I don't like it and the reasons why I don't like it. The fact that I get the game for free is not the issue. So, folks are gonna, this game is making the Chetosphere kind of eat a little bit of crow. They're changing the dynamic to, well, this game is not going to save Ubisoft. It's like, well, no. If you've been following Ubisoft's problems, no one game is going to save that studio from dissolution. I mean, it's going away. That's this game would have to sell like GTA 5 numbers to get Ubisoft out of the predicament that it's in. And that they're going to wind up when the axe finally does fall on Ubisoft, they'll probably chalk it up as a win, as we're bringing gaming back and all that nonsense. But and again, some of the stuff that these guys say I agree with. Some of the stuff, most of the stuff lately that these guys say, I think is just complete and utter bullshit. I would have more respect for them if they said, I don't want melanin and vaginas in my game. I would have more respect for them if they would just come out and say that. But they want to hide it behind authenticity, behind a freaking series that has magical aliens bringing a magical apple that rules the world, and you fight Set and the Pope, and every main character in Assassin's Creed meets every major historical figure within their lifetime. Make it make sense. If you're going to Assassin's Creed for historical accuracy, I mean, that's like saying, because you worked at Wendy's, you're a Michelin 5-star chef. It just doesn't make any sense. So, Chud's gonna chud, and so it is what it is. But the game seems to be getting to a pretty good start, both in the sales and in the ratings.
Good deal. Okay, next news story we want to talk about, the new God of War side story project set in Greece is coming this year. This is per Jeff Grubb from Giant Bomb. It's not a remaster collection, but something new is what is stated. So everyone keeps asking, so I've tried to find out more. Grubb wrote on Blue Sky, there is a God of War thing coming out this year, but it's not a remaster collection. It's a new side story project. He added that I was never told about a remaster collection, but I asked the source about the rumors, and they told me that there's nothing God of War that would happen at the State of Play, but something would show up at the anniversary. So, and Sony has announced some of its plans to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the God of War franchise. The celebration will include new in-game content for God of War Ragnarok, new merchandise, and a physical art exhibition on here. So Ragnarok players will be able to claim the new free Dark Odyssey collection from March the 20th, which was a few days ago on there. So I'll have to take a look at that. But if you do want to check out the art exhibit in LA, it's from March 15th until March 23rd. So today's the last day. So obviously, too bad, so sad. So I didn't want to know, but oh well. But I'm kind of excited to see what happens with the side story project. I think a lot of these games, these main IP franchises from Sony, would lend itself well if they just decided, instead of waiting 4 or 5 years between big tentpole projects to kind of work and do some side stuff, maybe some experimental stuff at that. You think, Des, if this will work well with Sony's IP, you think they should do more like smaller games in the meantime between installments if need be?
I would love for them to do that. I think that would keep the people that are, ponies, to use everyone's, the fun term. I think that keep eyes on Sony if they were to do something like that. I don't think they are, but
No.
That's always the thing that I always think is kind of crazy is these companies will spend all this money to buy these different developers and whatnot, and it's like, why don't you have? I never understood. Like, you can still have your big tentpole, little girl, all your tentpole games, but continue making smaller games as well. That way you kind of like supplement that income, because not everything has to like be a AAA game, and I think that's one of the things that's kind of annoying, at least to me anyway. Is it's like, come on, let's do it. Let's have something else. Let's have some fun with it. But they just seem to be, I don't know. It's just that's just the thing that kind of annoys me. It's like there's no reason why we can't have that stuff.
It's just a lot of like, I guess they want to be able to justify the spend out there and make the $70 price. But
yeah, I get that. But you can definitely, have a bunch of all smaller games. I mean, they might not total up to one production of one game, but at the same time, it's helping. That way you can cushion the blow, if between these other games. So,
I noticed that, like, Sucker Punch, they kind of went ahead and did like infamous side games, like the Halloween one that they did back on the PS3, and then First Light for Infamous after they released Second Son on here. I could see to where a Naughty Dog can maybe cleanse their palate a little bit and do a Jak and Daxter. They don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel necessarily. So they could keep the franchise going, or hell, I'm not even talking about like Sony, like Capcom, and they've gone back to the well with a few IP, but I could see where maybe do something new with Mega Man, maybe have a new Battle Network game or something.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, it's like they don't necessarily have to like come back in and say this is going to be a quadruple A project or anything like that, but they could easily weave in new IP along with old IP and kind of go from there. So
exactly, 100%. Like you're on, like there's so many different things that they could do, and it just seems like they're all very narrow-minded. But so I don't know.
It just seems like right now there's just not a lot of financing for anything out of the norm on there. That no one wants to take any risk, anything creative with this. It just seems like we'll see about this new project. Yeah,
I think they do. Like I think saying nobody does is not accurate. It's the big companies don't want to, and this is why we have like our umpteenth Assassin's Creed. So there you go. They know it's an IP that sells, and this is no fault of people who were buying games that they like. It's just you got to kind of give that same kind of love to other new IPs as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And I know it's hard, but it's helpful. It's definitely helpful. So,
any excitement for the new God of War, Kev? I mean, it's the point that you caught up with Ragnarok.
I mean, I'm interested to see how it'll be. I'm interested to see if it's going to go back to if it's coming from Greece. I wonder if they're going to go back to the old play style, or if they're going to focus on the way the games are currently when they relaunched it in 2018. So I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there to check it out. Definitely want to see. Kratos is like, that's my dude. I liked old school Kratos, and I like this new Kratos. So whichever way they decide to go with it, I would imagine that this is going to be a prequel story to at least the 2018 God of War. I don't know where it's going to fit in the original trilogy. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do with it. It's like, because he's killed everybody in Greece just about. So I don't know who they're gonna have him fight. Or maybe before three. It's got to be before three, because that's when the coup de grace fell. So I don't know. I'm definitely curious to see how it turns out.
Maybe it's like going to be like a walking simulator, and he's going to be out exploring the hills of Greece, reflecting on everything he's done.
Yeah. Well, you see, I don't think they're going to be doing that. I mean,
I know.
Yeah, it's like, and I think another thing that we also have to remember that along with the money men being hesitant to try something new, you also have to put into consideration the developers themselves. I think it was Naughty Dog that I can't remember who from the studio, was probably Neil Druckmann, talking about like Jack and Daxter and Nathan Drake, and he was just came out and straight up said, we had a meeting, we've closed the door on Nathan Drake, we've closed the door on Jack and Daxter. So if the studio has no desire to go back to those old IPs, it's like that double-edged sword. Is Sony going to make them go back and say, no, you're going to go back and give us another Jack and Daxter? Did Jack and Daxter generate the kind of income that The Last of Us did, or Nathan Drake did? I mean, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's one thing if the company is making you do it. It's also something else if the developers don't want to go back and revisit their old work. So, if the developer has closed the door on it, then I don't know, just subscribe to PlayStation Plus and play the old games, I guess. But if they don't want to go back and remake or reinvent or reintroduce those games, then there's really nothing we can do about it. We can't. It's not always the fault of the money men. Because sometimes the money men would be willing to finance it. So a lot of times it's the developers that don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for Maximo to return. Capcom ain't saying nothing about that. So, and we know they ain't shy about bringing back old IP. So it's kind of like, if maybe they don't want to go back and do Maximo, and if they don't, I can complain all about it all I want. That ain't going to bring Maximo back. So we just have to wait and see what they bring to the table.
Yeah, I kind of think of it like a comic book approach, meaning that you're not going to have the same creative team come back to an IP after they've done what they wanted to do with it. So I mean, I wish in a way video games would work a little bit more like comics, because maybe you have like a miniseries and or a maximum like a 6-issue, 12-issue a series where you get to see what's going on with character X or character Y after a certain amount of time, especially if those characters don't warrant like a long running book if need be on there. So so same thing with video games. I mean, you got characters there's other stories that could possibly be told too. So that's the way I kind of see it. But
it's that, and then the people that started there are not necessarily still going to be there.
Yeah, for sure.
That's true.
Those people, the folks that made the Arkham games are not the same people that made Kill the Justice League. That was very much apparent. So a part of this is also being able to retain your founding talent. If those people that made those original games great are gone, and there's nobody able to pick up where they left off, then you're just a legacy studio in name only. There's got to be a way where you can retain that talent and keep them on board. Like when you look at some of the people that have been working at Capcom or Konami, these guys have been there for 15, 20, 25, 30 years. And that's just not something that seems to happen out here in the West. So I think that's also possibly an issue. Retaining your talented developers so that they can continue to build upon the foundations that they set to begin with.
It's all my fault. You know it. And you know what else? It's my fault too that Bam Margera didn't get included in the new upcoming Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4. But according to a new claim, Tony Hawk himself demanded that Bam be added back to the game. So this is according to the Live Club Skating podcast. It's claimed that Bam was added to the game at the last minute after Tony Hawk demanded he be included. According to one of the hosts, who said the game was already done, Tony called up Activision, said, "Hey, we're putting Bam in the thing," and they're like saying, "Hey, we can't." He goes, "No, you're gonna do it." So Tony Hawk pretty much did a 900 onto whoever's head.
He said 900. Wow.
Yeah, and basically made them fly Bam out there to get body scanned and everything else and get him back in the game. So, hey, guess what? We talked about this a couple episodes ago.
Oh.
Poor Bam Margera, unfortunately is down on his luck, at least as of late.
You got that pull.
Got that pull. Tony Hawk said, no. I want my buddy in there. So there was a recent trailer or image after the game announcement. An image was posted online showing Margera reuniting with Hawk at a skate park on there. So, the powers that be have assembled, the twin towers of skating. Tony Hawk and Bam Margera are together again.
You need to stop.
Tony Hawk's first 3 and 4. So.
I think that's good. I mean, I don't know what this dude did. Apparently he didn't do anything but just kind of ruin his own life, apparently.
Yeah.
There's a lot worse stuff he could have done. And I don't see what the big issue could have been, because Hollywood keeps giving rebounds and second chances to dudes and dudettes who have done a whole lot worse, that have involved other people. And we Hollywood welcomes them back either in front or behind of the camera on a consistent basis. But people get bent out of shape because this guy, they're going to keep him out of a remake of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4. That just doesn't make sense. So I'm glad Tony got him back in. I don't even know what he did. I don't follow skating. I ain't never played these games before. Probably have no intention of buying these games. So, but I just think on principle, I think that was a good thing that he did.
Yeah. Hopefully, whatever he's up to, maybe this will help. But who knows? So, Who knows? Skate or die. So,
skate or die.
All right. And in our announcements release date section, there is
Jabroni or die.
You got Jabroni or die. So, RoboQuest, the game that was on Xbox Game Pass and still on Xbox Game Pass. It's a roguelike first-person shooter. It's coming to PlayStation. So PS5, PS4 versions of the game will launch on May 27th. This is coming from publisher Starbreeze Studios and developer Rise Up on there. So there are pre-orders for physical standard and deluxe editions distributed by Strictly Limited Games. And they're also available on VGP in North America and Amazon in Europe, as well as Strictly Limited Games online shop. So if you haven't played this game is actually pretty cool. It's one of the, when we were doing our month of Xbox last year. Remember those days?
Mm-hmm.
Des on there. But
I remember that.
I always felt that this game was fun. It first launched in the early access on Steam and Microsoft Store and August 2020 on here, and it basically showed up as a full launch on all platforms back in November of 2023, but happened not to come out on PlayStation. So, interested in playing this on PlayStation, Des?
I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
I might even pick up the physical. I felt like the game was fun enough. So.
Okay.
I think so. That's why I'm mentioning it right now. So.
Oh, I know.
All right, next announcement. I think that would get Kev's interest, our eyebrow raised a little bit. Publisher Arc System Works and developer Ukes have released a new trailer for Double Dragon Revive. So that's kind of janky ass looking new side scrolling game from Ukes on here. I think when we were at TGS, Des, like people weren't even like looking at the booth. That's how kind of bad it was. So, but hey, they might put a little like bait on this. So they have a pre-order bonus game if you happen to pre-order the game. It's called Double Dragon Dodgeball. So so this game
that's gonna sell it.
Yep. This game will feature a total of 56 characters from the Double Dragon series who will participate in fierce dodgeball matches. So
damn, Kev.
Yep. So I don't know if even though this game was kind of looking janky, Kev, are you going to take a look at the Double Dragon Revive just to play some Double Dragon Dodgeball?
So I looked at the trailer, and they probably got me to pre-order this game.
Oh,
just before the dodgeball.
Oh,
it's like I'm hoping that they offer this separately. So like a part of me would want to hold off and just wait until this game was launched digitally somewhere. But yeah, based off the NES dodgeball, which I always thought was better than the arcade one. Yeah, I'm there. Yeah, no problem. You got my money through not because of the game that you're actually trying to sell looks good, because it honestly looks like booty butt cheeks, but because of your pre-order bonus.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, sometimes that happens. Like sometimes the pre-orders just be hidden different. So.
Yeah, the Double Dragon Dodgeball includes a story mode, which is a classic Marion rescue story, a 2-player versus mode, and a survival mode for up to 4 players. So it is beefy. It's like the beefaroni of side pre-order bonus games, if you ever want to see one. So
there you go.
Yeah, because this game makes Double Dragon Neon look good, and that's not a positive statement. but the pre-order bonus, that is hot fire, as the kids say. So you got me. You got me this time. You got me this time. You got me.
I think if they released Double Dragon Dodgeball for like $20, I think they would sell. They would sell this game. So.
Well, I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue is we got to come up with something that makes the main game that we've been working on more appealing, because the game that we got ain't that good. The game that we're about to bring to market ain't that good. So let's try and it's like you're trying to feed your pet a pill from the vet. So you wrap it up in a piece of bacon or a piece of hamburger, and because your pet is not going to eat that pill by itself, you gotta okay, I'm gonna put it in this hamburger steak, and your dog is just going and the Super Double Dragon Dodgeball is the hamburger steak around the pill of their new Double Dragon game.
All right.
Well, that new Double Dragon Revive will launch on October 23rd, 2025. So they do have a date for it already. So, all right. And then other announcement news, FBC Firebreak is launching in the summer. So this is a new cooperative first-person shooter set in the Federal Bureau of Control from the Control series. So it's
that's what that is. Okay.
PS5, Xbox Series, and Steam, on Epic Game Store on here. What I think is kind of ingenious about this is that they kind of coordinated this, so it's going to all the services day one. It's going to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate on launch. It's going to PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium on launch, and on PC Game Pass. So So, and from the previews I saw on this game, it's not a more like a gotcha type of game like Marvel Rivals or other games in the series, like other FPS games that have come out as of late. It's basically more like a Left 4 Dead, basically. It's like in that type of style, but in the Control universe. So watching the trailer and taking a look at it, I really want to kind of dive in there, and basically because it's going to be available for both Xbox and PlayStation day one on both the services.
Mhm.
There's probably not going to be an issue of finding people to play or wanting to try the game if need be. So I think it might be a good palate cleanser during the summer on here. I'll be interested to see if other people, especially we have a few listeners that love the Control series and love everything Remedy has brought to the table, and so I'm kind of curious about this game. So we'll have to see. Any curiosity from either of you two on this? No,
Not for
I know.
me. I wasn't really into the Control universe, so
Yeah.
so for me, probably not. But I'm not gonna say like 'cause I know John BT probably is like oh my God, let's do this, so
Yeah.
which I think is kind of cool. But for me, I never really was a fan, so I'll just have to defer to them.
I'll take a look at it. It looks like it could be. It's definitely not a game I would have spent money on.
There you go.
But if it's in the service, the gameplay looks like I'd be willing to at least see what it's doing.
Yeah.
Same here.
Something tells me Damon might play this, so
You might.
We'll see. So
I can't remember if he played Control. To be honest, I have Control and I haven't gotten around. It's Control is deep in the backlog. I want to play it, but I haven't gotten around to it.
Maybe if you want to dig in any of your deep backlog games, I have no problem digging into my backlog and pulling the same game out. Maybe we get multiple impressions at the same time. It's kind of like we've been doing with other games as of late. So,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it might be a thing for sure. And then last but not least, Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves. There's a second open beta test. Is going to be from March 26th at 10 p.m. Pacific time. It will be this upcoming Wednesday and will be available until March 31st, which is actually a good, nice little window. It's going to be closing up Monday morning at 1 a.m. Pacific time. So, if you want to get all your last licks in before the game drops out, you'll have a chance to do so. Basically, the second open beta test will be held to improve the online experience. They'll be able to choose from 9 characters, including for the first time the mighty grappler Tizak, as they tackle training mode and more throughout the test period. So I know, Kev, I didn't make the time to check this out. I did download it, but I'm gonna definitely be checking this out, the next beta test this upcoming week. So are you going to be doing the same? Maybe we'll do a little Friday night fight kind of thing.
If I'm able to, I will. Okay. I may have something coming up towards the end of this week, just like I did with the original. But if I'm able to, I will. Especially that since it's got the training mode. I wasn't really inclined to try the first beta because it did not have a training mode. And I have been trying to wrap my head around how the rev up system works. And I've watched a few videos on it and it's explained, but I just need to be able to wrap my head around it, how the systems work. Because it seems like it's kind of like an EX meter, but it does more than that. So that's the part that's kind of confusing me. And I just don't want to jump in and just not know how to utilize everything that the game has to offer off rip, and just jump in and just get pummeled online. So the training mode is where I'm going to be spending the most of my time, probably just trying to learning the new systems and getting ready for it. Because either way, I'm getting the game, so I'll have all the time in the world to hang out in training mode, but I appreciate that they're putting it in the beta so folks can at least try and figure things out before they jump online.
Yeah. I'm definitely interested in the game. I think for me and Des played at TGS last year.
It's beautiful.
Definitely, yeah.
It's a beautiful game.
I already pre-ordered it, so I got the steelbook. I'm ready to go. And just hopefully I'll play it. So we'll see. And that is the Jabroni Gaming news for this episode. Thank you, gents.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Game night takes place every Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. That is the day and time that we set aside to play games with our growing Discord community. So if there's a game that you have that you'd like to play either with us or members of our Discord, just post it in the game night section of our Discord server. So you might be asking, well, how do I join your Discord? That's easy as well. All you do is head over to the app formerly known as Twitter, currently known as X.
Blue Sky.
Or Blue Sky, and head over to @GamingVessels, GamingVessels. Click the link in the bio and you're in. So we don't have any merch to hawk to you. And we don't have a Patreon tier list for you to pay for in order for you to join. All we ask is you just be a reasonable, rational person that likes talking about video games. And I think you'll have a fun time aboard the good ship Gaming Vessel. So special shout out to those who partook in our main event this episode. Big kudos go out to John BT, Captain Mike M, and Devious Mr. Matt. And also another reminder for y'all to check out Second Thought with Captain Mike M and Devious Mr. Matt. The name of the podcast, once again, Second Thought. And they talk about games. They talk about like life stuff, which I think is going to be pretty cool. If and when my time comes back at work and I'm not in the courtroom, I'll definitely be checking out their episodes. So I also enjoyed the 40 cast, listen to them as well, and Fodder Figures. That was also a good gaming focused podcast as well. So that is going to bring us to the end of Gaming Vessels episode 277. I want to thank y'all for hanging out, cooling out, chilling out without a doubt with us. So for Dez, a.k.a. the Bay Area Terror, a.k.a. the High Res Hater.
That's me.
A.k.a. the Cat Daddy, a.k.a. That Gamer Stepdaddy. And for Trader Joe, a.k.a. Jabroni Chief.
Yeah.
But you might also know him as the Food Max of Gaming, who can maximize your gaming dollar. I am Shonuff71, a.k.a. Digadulamite.
That purple bling bling, yo.
And we'll be back next time, episode 278 for your ears. Peace.
It's blowing up.